Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for episode 150 of the MeepleCore Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Tim, Jennette the Metal Meeple, and I'm joined by my co-hosts,
George Breden,
James Fitzgerald.
In this episode, James finishes his Origins 2025 Game Fair experience. George recaps his experience at St. Paul DEF CON Gaming Convention. We also give our reviews for the board games Anachrony, Conservas, and Corpse of Discovery. Enjoy the show. How's it going, everyone? Before we begin, I just want to let you know that it is July 4th, America. And we are not going to edit out booms and things from our mics because it is definitely going to pick up some of these fireworks as bombs over my house happen.
Yep, here too.
I don't know if you just heard that one. That was huge, man.
Sound like it's right next to your house.
Yeah, dude. It was like, it's crazy. It's fun, though. It's fun. So hopefully we can get through this podcast without waking up the kids, basically. George, I put in the intro St. Paul DEF CON Gaming Convention, but I realized that was incorrect.
No, that's right. St. Paul DEF Game Convention.
Okay, right. Yeah, but it's not officially called DEF CON, right?
It's not officially DEF CON. It should be. It should be DEF CON. DEF CON 1.
And for those listening, I mean, obviously you're going to explain this, but it's a deaf gaming convention, like people who can't hear, like deaf, not like D.
Yes, people who use American Sign Language.
That's a better way to say it. Anyway, so we're gonna get into what we've been up to, but we're gonna start with James. So if you listen to the last episode, James was mid convention talking about Origins. He's gonna finish that up, and then maybe a quick what you've been up to since the last episode, and then we'll move on to George and what he's been doing, and then I'll follow last.
All right.
Okay. Well, where we left off, it was Friday night, so there was Saturday and Sunday left of the convention. I just played games with Mayfair Games. We had an event there, and it was like a 4-hour block, and they wanted to show you new games. The funny thing of that was they acted like they didn't know this event was going on. They still showed us all the new games. You were supposed to get prizes. Mayfair.
Okay.
And that's the one that with
wait,
Mr. B.
Mayfair?
Mr. B game. Yes.
They're
I know.
back?
I thought they were defunct, but yeah, they were. It was Mayfair Games, and
I just learned something new. I'm gonna have to research this.
Right?
What in the heck?
the two games we played that ended up playing, I figured I'd not be there the whole time and just go off and talk to the vendors. And it was more or less coincide with Mr. B games, which is I played Lord of Baseball and Cafe. And those were pretty good. And I ended up buying those both because they gave us big discounts. And I kind of talked them into it because I was like, you're supposed to give discounts with this event. And they were kind of confused. It was weird. It was strange, but it was fine. We had a good time. The two people I played with Lords of Baseball with, we had a great time with it.
Does it actually say Mayfair Games on the box anywhere?
That's a good question. I don't think
For those listening, he had it right behind him on his shelf. So
it does not. It does not. So that's weird. It just says LH Studios and Mr. B Games.
Wow, I'm confused now. Keep going. All right.
Now I am too. Thanks. But it was a good time, and I played. There were some minor people I got minor instances with people that it doesn't take away from my experience. And that Saturday night, Haywood Banks was there, and I went to his little stand-up. He's a stand-up comedian that also does funny songs. He's well known from Bob and Tom, if you ever listen to them. I haven't listened to Bob and Tom in 20 years, but he was big in the late 90s and early 2000s with Bob and Tom, and he has funny songs. He was funny. It was a good time to get away. It's like something different. I wanted to do something different at the game fair, and I also wanted to do other things that were different out of my wheelhouse. I did 2 prototypes. You heard about one that Friday, that last podcast. And I did one also Saturday, which was a mid game. I won't talk about it, but it's 4 years in development is still kind of meh to me. So, which is fine. Then one of my friends always talks, board game library is where it's at. You always need to go there. And so I finally went there Saturday night after the Haywood Banks concert. And I tried to get him go. He missed my text, so he went to bed. And played. And this is going to change my strategy for next year. I played Food for Thought, which is one of the new games we talked about. And it turned out to be not my game. It was a worker placement. The problem is with I expect worker placements, you build as you go, as in you either get more workers as you go, like Everdell, or the spots become more powerful, or some things become more powerful. This is 6 rounds of the exact same thing. Nothing changes. And after 3 rounds, I was like, I'm
Like
done
it
with this.
overstays its welcome.
Yeah, I was like, this is interesting.
That's not good.
The theme is interesting. Just you get 4 disc, those are your workers, and that's it for 6 rounds, 4 turns. And it doesn't feel like you can. I know some games that you'd want to not feel like you can get everything done, but it just didn't. I didn't like it. I wasn't a fan, so I was glad I didn't buy that on impulse. But I will next year, because I'm going back next year. The first day, I'll probably go to the library because they have all the games we talked about in the new section. So I would like to probably Wednesday, that first day, play games, the new games, just to see. And then that would give me a good idea if I really want to buy them or not. And unfortunately, that's a lot of stuff I did. I did, after the Mayfair, I did go around and do what I wanted to do is demo games at the booths. And unfortunately, they convinced me to buy a lot of games that
Sucked in.
Right. I did hold off on some. I always tell the funny story was that one with the seaside buildings. It's like Positano. I can't remember the name. Is that right?
Yep.
I saw it early on and I had to be somewhere. So I just talked to the lady really quick and it sounded interesting, but then I'd be somewhere. And then I tried to find the booth for 2 days straight, Friday and Saturday, and I could not find the booth. It was like a Twilight Zone. I went up and down the aisles and I could not find this booth that had this game because I wanted to actually demo it. And so finally I became unlazy. I looked up on the app and see what booth number it was in. I found it, and there's a huge banner. You would think I would have seen this huge banner, but I passed it up many times. But I got a demo, and it was good, but it just wasn't for me. It's an abstract type game. You're drafting positions on the board, and you're trying to get a tall building so where the windows face, you can see the windows. That's how you score points. It was good. It looked good, but it just wasn't for me. And so I was glad I got the demo that and see it in person. That's a lot of stuff that I like about this. And final note on Origins. I really love Origins, and everybody talks about Gen Con, but it doesn't seem like the con for me. I mean, they say it's mainly just about buying games, which I would probably buy thousands of dollars a game, so I definitely don't need to go to Gen Con. But with Origins, it's a lot more, I don't know, to me, it's the perfect mix of vendors and playing games and going to events of playing games. And it's just got a great feel. And this year is a little up. I think it's a little over 19,000 people, less than 20, but it was like 8% up higher than last year. And it just feels good. And that's why I was thinking about skipping it next year and going to Gen Con instead, but I think I've changed my mind. I'm definitely going to Origins next year. It doesn't matter to me if they release everything at Gen Con instead of Origins. That's fine. They released some, so I was fine with that. And it's just overall a great time, and I highly recommend Origins. If you want to pick a first con or a big con to go to, I would recommend that one. You got everything's free for the most part. Some games, if you play to win, you have to pay like $6 to play a game. If you win the game, you win it. If you win playing the game, you win the game. But everything's free. The library's free.
I was going to say they just made the library free because it wasn't always. You'd have to buy a library badge a few years ago.
I think last year was the first time, because I know last year was free too.
Yeah.
So, and then also the library, my friend won a game. I guess they put a different colored card in there or something. It's like a library, the old school school library where it had the little card where they put your name on it. That's how they check it out.
He pulled the golden ticket.
I guess so. He was all excited about it. I don't know what he won, but so it's just a great con. I mean, it's only 3 hours away from us for me, so it's not that 2.5, 3 hours. I can't 2.5 hours for me, and it's not bad. It's a nice little drive, and we just always have a great time. Different experiences. Like I said, next year my plan is to hit the library a lot first, so I can know, because they had all these games that we talked about, like I said, that at the library. But it's just, and I know a lot of people there. I run into, I mean, Tim and I know some people there, mainly the Queen Games people. But it was just a good time. I ended up winning some games, and I highly recommend it if you like. It doesn't feel huge. And I hear Gen Con is more pushing and shoving, and I just don't, that's not my jam.
Yeah, have been to both of them many times. And I will say that Origins is a better starting point because it's got the charm of a small convention, but it feels like a mini Gen Con.
Right.
You got all the vendors, you got all the space, you get to play games. You don't feel the pressure of having to go. Gen Con, you can literally spend one of the entire day or one of the 4 days going through the vendor hall. And that's just going up and down all the aisles. Then you would think, okay, what booths do I need to go back to? And you can spend another half day doing that. And so you have all this other time, or you don't have that much other time to like spread out on all these events and everything, but both of them have quite a few events. I think it's a really nice, I just call it the mini Gen Con because it has everything that Gen Con has, but on a small scale. Unlike small conventions at like hotels where you have like 2,000 people, that's mostly just focused on playing games, and they have like 20 vendors or so, maybe that. So I like both. If I had to pick one, obviously I would pick Gen Con just because I've been going since 2003, but Origins is awesome. I really miss going to Origins. I didn't go last year and I didn't go this year, but that's mostly because I had a third son. So
right.
It makes it a little harder. And we were really planning on going this year, but due to some personal stuff, we didn't. But it's very, very, very likely that we're going next year for sure. So
that's good.
Well, I said very likely and input for sure. So anyway, so
just to wrap up on that, I saw a lot of people online saying I've been to Gen Con a lot, and they're talking about after going this year to Origins, they're like, I'm only going to go to Origins from now on and not go to Gen Con. So
I do think you should try Gen Con once, though. I'm just saying.
Once. The problem is it falls.
Do both.
It falls. My wife's birthday falls in the middle of it, so it's hard to get away. I don't want to tell her, hey, present. That's not her type of. She would definitely not like all that big crowd.
No, that's fair.
So but with Origins, I loved it. It went by too fast, and I'm definitely going again, and I can't wait for it to be here next year.
Well, cool.
And if you want to hear what I've been up to, not much. I feel like we've just been working all the time here at the house since I got back.
Okay.
I only met once with my game group. We played Endeavor Deep Sea, which I played at Origins for the first time, and it's a really good game. But beyond that I played a little today with Crystal, finally, some games. Yellow House, which I played with George. I forgot George came to my house, and we played the Yellow House, which was better than I expected, but I'm terrible at teaching, as he knows.
I very much enjoyed that game.
And we played Parks and Potions, and he can tell you that more on that. And we played some else, a third one, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Dragonwood.
Yeah, Dragonwood was a little light dice game. It was pretty fun.
I have that. It's still in shrink, but I bought it thinking I can play with the kids.
Yeah, you can, definitely. It's a light little fun game. Crystal and I play it all the time. But that's what I've been up to.
All right, cool. Well, George, give us the rundown on this gaming convention you went to and some of the other things you've been up. Since you were not on the podcast last time because you were at this convention.
That's right.
So you got a little bit more of a couple of weeks worth of stuff.
This is the second time that the DEF CON has been in St. Paul, and the second time that it's been the same convention weekend as Origins. So I missed Origins in favor of this convention again. And I don't regret that at all because I have such a good time at this convention. But I will chime in and say that when I've been to Origins, it is one of my favorite ones. So I agree with what you're saying about how it's mini Gen Con. It has all the vendors, it has the new releases and things like that. But at the same time, it's more of a gaming convention. And so Origins is one that I've really enjoyed. But the St. Paul DEF CON, before it was in St. Paul, it was always held in Austin, Texas. And now it's been moved to St. Paul. And this one really is my favorite convention. And it's because of the intimacy of it. And just, when you really know the people and you've been to the same convention with the same 30 or 40 people, 5 or 6 times, you can imagine. And it's not about vendors.
It's like a friend convention.
It really is. It's like the gathering of friends. I imagine. I haven't been to that, but it's fantastic. And there's not a vendor presence there, so it's just gaming. Although there are vendors that every year donate games to be raffled off. Excuse me. And I just want to mention a couple of those really quickly. We have Leader Games because they are actually from Minnesota, so they always have sent games to this one. And Floodgate Games, there's Mayday, Level 99. We've got R&R Games, the Grand Gamers Guild.
Man, you got some big hitters.
Oh, yes. Yeah, there's great games that are being given away every year at DEF CON. There's Queen Games. There's Ape Games. I think I mentioned that one. There's Roxley Games. Rio Grande. They've sent a bunch of games. Board and Dice. And Inside Up Games is always one that gives. One of the one of the people that works at Inside Up Games and is an editor for them is one of my good friends, Dan. He's deaf, and he is the contact with Inside Up Games. And then I've become the contact just recently this year with Capstone Games in Cincinnati, and so they've donated some games as well. And I'm afraid that's probably not all of the ones, but it's a really nice event because during the weekend there will be tournaments, and you can win games from these companies and good games, right? You can win Root and Arcs and stuff like that from Leader Games, and you can win Rise, Boone Lake, and things like that from Capstone, etc. Anyway, and then there's this raffle that you can buy tickets for as well, and that's always a highlight. But it's 5 days of sign language and games, mostly board games, but there are role-playing games as well, Dungeons and Dragons, which is always fun in sign. It's such a good time. The tournaments we've had in the past, we've had Jaipur, and we've had a Mystic Vale tournament. We've had Century Spice Road. We've had Catan, of course. And when we had that one, that was in Austin, and there was a gigantic Catan set that was given away as a prize. Do you remember when they made that? It was all like huge plastic pieces that were, it was a $350 Catan set.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they've got another one now that is the Seafarers expansion in the same gigantic edition. And again, $350 or something like that. But anyway.
Well, that's Sierra's favorite, is the Seafarers.
Is that really?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, she likes that in City of Nights.
Oh, nice.
She likes that stuff.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. And so we have these tournaments, but then we also because it's Minnesota now, we have 2 games that are tournaments each time, and one of them is Crokinole. They have 12 Crokinole boards. That's just a big popular game at the Deaf Club there, and
It's really fun.
oh, it's great. Love Crokinole.
I love Crokinole.
And this one surprised me, but I guess it's a Minnesota thing. It's a game called Carbles. And Carbles was popularized and commercialized as the game Aggravation. If you've ever played that, where you roll dice and then put marbles out.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know it's based on this game called Carbles. They have these gigantic wooden Carbles boards.
Isn't it basically like Sorry to some degree?
I mean, it's very similar. So. Kind of take that kind of game, get your marbles around the board. Yeah, but it's fun. We always have a tournament for that as well. And the Deaf Convention is held in Charles Thompson Hall. And let me just really quickly share that image with you. If I can do that here. Here we go.
Just let's explain it a little bit for the listeners.
Yeah, so it's this building that was erected at sort of the turn of the 19th century. And it's a 3-story building. It also has a basement. And the whole thing is the Club for the Deaf in St. Paul, Minnesota. And Charles Thompson was a banker who was deaf. And you get to be a banker back in those days by your father being a banker. So he had a lot of money. And when he passed, his wife, Margaret, donated, she had this building commissioned to be built, and then donated the building and what in today's money would be $1.5 million dollars for the building to be maintained and free for use for the deaf community in perpetuity. So yeah, it's a gorgeous
awesome.
deaf club. Yeah, really fantastic for having this convention because there's multiple levels and you could have different things going on. You know,
Yeah,
D&D
that sounds awesome.
it's so good. So that was my weekend. I'm looking forward to it next year, and even more than that, next year I'm looking forward to the fact that we've moved the date a week later. So so hopefully some of the guys from Minnesota and from some of the other states, there were 6 states represented at this convention. Texas and California and Ohio, some other places. Anyway, hopefully they can come to Ohio and go to Origins the week before, and then we all go to Minnesota for this next year.
Did you
that'd
say
be
how many
awesome.
people? I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, not as many as last year, sadly, but I'm not good at guessing the number, but I'm going to say probably 30 to 40, something like that. Yeah, it's a good number, but I think we had no marketing really. And I think next year we're going to try to get the word out a little more and swell the numbers. But it's a real convention atmosphere where you have people that are brand new, and then you have people that are heavy gamers, and you get to play convention style games like we played Root and Ark Nova, Wonderland's War, and just some big long games that you really
Like me some Wonderland's War.
Yes. Oh, so good.
Gosh. The only requirement, I'm assuming, is to know American Sign Language?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This convention, now that it's moved to St. Paul, you just have to know American Sign Language fluently. And when it was in Austin, the requirement was pretty much you have to be deaf. And I was like the only hearing person that was there.
Man.
Yeah. So that was kind of different. But now if you are a hearing person who can sign, more than welcome. Yep. Absolutely.
Well, cool. All right. Well, for me, I haven't been up to too much on the gaming side. I played a few games. One of those I'm going to talk about on this podcast. The other one was we played Almaty again. James is the one who showed us that one. And we also played Flip 7. It's all the buzz. It's effectively blackjack Uno or black.
Yes.
What did I say? It was blackjack Uno maybe.
Superior to Uno.
Yeah.
How many players did you play with?
4.
Okay, because it falls flat with 2. I thought.
Oh yeah, I can see that for sure. But I mean, it really is just blackjack with some special cards. But it's really cool. Simply because for those who never played it, the real quick thing is there's numbers, basically all the way up to 12, but there's that many of each copy. So there's 8 8s and then 10 10s and 12 12s. So when a card comes out in front of you, you're like, oh man, it's a 12, but there's a lot of 12s. And the idea is when you can stop and bank, or you can hit me, and then you're just really trying to get 200 points. But man, it is super cool. I recommend everybody, if you even vaguely like blackjack, you're going to love this. So
I absolutely agree. That's a fantastic game. I use it in my classroom, and I have students answer a question, and then they get a card, and they can keep going or stop. So they play in teams. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Absolutely love it.
Other than that, we took a slight vacation to Madison, Indiana, a little tourist trap, did some hiking and things like that. So, but otherwise it was pretty light on the gaming, other than the game Anachrony that we got to the table. We'll get into that in just a second, though, because I'm going first on the game list that we've got. But anything else y'all want to bring up before we get into that?
I would just like to give a shout out to the game Bomb Busters. We played that at DEF CON and massive hit. What a great game.
I've heard so much about it. Even though it's a co-op, I want to play it.
It's just so fun.
Considering what I'm hearing outside right now, that sounds pretty relevant for this episode. Oh my God. This is the one time, there's one episode, 150 episodes or more, because there were some one-offs that we had. And I've never hit the mute button this many times. I just stay muted now.
Oh, I'm not even bothering it. You could probably hear it going off. Yeah. I don't know if you can hear it, but I don't even bother.
One of the fireworks next to our house a few minutes ago, you know when it rains and the fat rain hits your like window and it makes the tapping noise? I actually thought it was spraying my window. So it was pretty crazy. So, but yeah, let's get into our first game then. And the first game we're going to talk about on this episode is Anachrony. I'll share my screen. But Anachrony is well, let's just go through the normal stuff here. It's designed by David. Is it Turtsky? I can't remember how to pronounce that.
Close enough.
Yeah, that's fair. A bunch of artists. You can see it on the screen if you're watching the video. And the publisher is Mind Clash Games. And this was released in 2017. There's a bunch of expansions since then. It's a game that I always wanted to get to the table. And we got it from our Board Game Geek Secret Santa this past Christmas. So I've had it for a few months now, but I finally got it to the table. And basically it's a worker placement game with this really interesting, I want to call it loan management system. George, I know James has played it. Have you played this yet?
I've not played it. I've heard great things, but I know that Mind Clash is pretty heavy and so I've sort of stayed away, to be honest.
The weird thing is it says it's a weight of 4 out of 5.
That's crazy.
I'm going to disagree. I actually think it's more of a 3. I
agree.
I don't think this game is that deep.
No.
All right.
I don't think it's deep as far as like stuff getting shot in your face as far as like a water hose of information. It is deep in the idea of like strategy, but I don't really consider that what weight means on Board Game Geek. You know, it's not a complex game. It literally is just a worker placement.
Okay.
With its twist.
I need to give it a try though, because I really love the theme. I love time travel themes.
Yeah. Well, let me quickly go over it and then I'll talk about some of the things that I like. You have a player board in front of you and you have the capital board, which is in the middle of the table. And you have this thing called the timeline, which are all these little boards that have these like spots for your time warp tokens that you'll place on there. More on that later. And before I get into this, I'm going to do something I almost never do. I'm going to tell you the theme, because out of a lot of games, this is one of the only games I can see that the theme actually brings out a lot of this game. It's crazy. Effectively, and I might not do this all justice, but basically something happened to the world, like the Earth. There was a catastrophic event. Most of the Earth is inhabitable. The human population was significantly declined and they formed into like 4 factions. In this game, they call them paths, like Path of Harmony or Path of Dominance. I'm going to call them factions. Anyway, for simplicity's sake.
Yeah.
And they built these monuments out of this material that was at ground zero from the whatever happened.
Okay.
And it's called neutronium. And by doing this, they basically, I guess, concentrated it so much that they ended up ripping a hole through like a wormhole, and they end up being able to utilize that. And that's how they got time travel. Well, the side effect of that, I guess, is that there's a meteor that was going to basically destroy the Earth or hit the Earth and cause a lot of problems. And that was supposed to happen a long time in the future. But then because of the wormholes and the way that they've been manipulating time, they actually brought that event closer. And so it's going to happen within a few decades. And the game takes place between 5 and 7 rounds. or 5 and 8. I don't remember how many rounds, but the point is a little bit halfway through the game or a little bit more than halfway, the impact happens. And that's when the meteor hits or whatever. But each round, or in this game, it's called eras. They last a few years. It's not like you're playing, 1 year every era. So it's like a decade or two before like the meteor hits. Well, anyway, that's like the moral of what's going on. And I'll explain more on why I'm telling you that when I get to the timeline stuff. I have the Essential Edition, which does not come with miniatures. It just they have these mechs that you have called exosuits, and you have these worker tiles. And the worker tiles can be placed on buildings that are on your player board in these little slots. I mean, that's fine, but if you place them out on the capital board, you don't know who placed them there, right? So you put them on these little mechs to go out there. You have to power on these mechs with a resource. And those mechs in the Essentials Edition are essentially like this little hexagon, like tile, and it's boring, but they make all these really cool miniatures. So I do have that, and you slot the guy in the top of its head, basically like a credit card, and then you put your miniature out there.
They do look really good.
Yeah, it looks really cool, especially if they're painted.
Yeah, because the miniatures are your time suit or whatever that you're going back in time in.
Yeah,
I guess you're supposed to put that little hex in there. That's you going into the suit to go back in time.
Like I said, most of the game is standard affair when it comes to worker placement. You've got these places out on the main board, and there's multiple spots for them. And like you can go out and you can take a worker placement spot to build a building, and there's like a display of buildings off to the right. There's 4 different color buildings. One of those are power plants, and we'll come back to why I mentioned that. There's another spot where you can recruit these workers. At the beginning of each era, a card flips over and it tells you which workers to populate. So those are the workers available to get that round or that era. There's another spot where you can roll these dice, and that's going to give you these breakthrough tokens that you need to build what's called super projects, because above the timeline, you have these big buildings. Essentially, they give you really powerful abilities or really powerful end game scoring, but you need to have those breakthrough tokens alongside all these resources and possibly a worker or two that you need to basically use to build that building. And there's some other spots on the main capital board, like you can go and do some trade actions with the nomads, or you can get some water. And there's finally a mining action where you get cubes, which are your resources. In order to get those, there's like 3 different spots you go to, and you'll get one of any tile that, or at the beginning of the era, a card flips over just like the workers, and it populates those spots with resources. You get one of those, and you can get the one that's attached to the spot you take 2. So you're always going to get 2 resources by going to the mine. Your player board, though, is a little bit less active at the beginning, but as you start building buildings, then you have more spots for your workers to go on. When you place them on those spots, or even on the main board, there are 3 different types of workers, like scientists and engineer and administrator. And most of the spots will take any of them, but you get discounts for doing certain things. Like, for instance, if you send the engineer to the building spot, you'll get like a discount on a resource. There also are some spots that require you to put certain workers down. And then there's a genius, which is kind of like a wild. He can be used in any of the spots or whatever. Well, anyway, so you're just doing that. That's all you're doing. You're putting guys out. You're putting mechs out. You're getting resources. You're trading them in for buildings. All the standard worker placement affair. While you're doing all this, at the beginning of an era, all players are going to take these tiles in their hand called warp tiles, and you're going to choose 0, 1, or 2 of those to put out. And everybody does this simultaneously with their fist and reveals. And the reason is because whoever has the most of them out there at the beginning of each era is going to have to roll this die to get paradox tokens. Because what you're basically doing is saying, me in the future is going to send these resources back to me. So I'm getting a loan from my future self. So this round, if I want more water, or if I want a specific resource cube, I can put those out there and get those things. And they just appear through a wormhole. Blam, right? But when you move on to the future eras, you can use power plants to travel back in time, which moves your focus marker essentially back to one of the other timeline tiles that happened in the past. And two things from that. One, that's when you can repay your debts effectively. So you just pay whatever, like that 2 water to get your resource, to get the tile back. And it's going to raise you up on the time travel track, which gives you more points. And the other thing is that's how you build super projects from earlier eras that no one had built. Now, what's really cool, and the reason I bring all this up, is in essence, what's happening is, I think, if I remember correctly, you as a faction want to do everything you can to propel fast for the impact before it happens, for the meteor. And so you're sending your stuff back in time to help your faction basically progress quicker. And so like the idea that you just see this stuff appear, but then in the future, you're actually sending it back to yourself. That's the whole time travel part. And it's just really fascinating to think about. In game terms, all it is you're taking a loan and you're paying it back. But in the theme, it's really cool way to do like time travel as a loan mechanism. And, that's mostly the game. It's without going in super detail on all the different actions and things that you can do. There's a lot of cool interactions you can have with your board. I like the fact that when you, at the end of an era, all your workers come back and some of them are tired or some of them are still active or called motivated, which is a really cool effect because not all of your workers will always be down for the count, but you have to take an action to get them back, or you can force them to wake up and work, but then their morale goes down. So you don't want to do stuff like that. But I really like the worker placement games that have the different workers for the different spots. That right there is just fantastic. I mean, if you're designing a worker placement game at this point, that kind of thing should be on your mind. The idea that you have all these different types of workers, but you can put them anywhere. But if I put a scientist here, he gets a discount. If I put a administrator over here, he comes back motivated. That's really fascinating. I like games that have that. And I don't feel like there's that many that do. I remember I have another game called Archon. It's like a steampunk worker placement game. I don't know if you're familiar with that. That one has it, but I mean, can you think of any other ones that have this type of? I know they exist. I just can't think of them.
I can't think of any.
There was one where you actually built your workers out of parts so that they got abilities as you like.
You're talking about. I'm looking for it.
Looking for it on his shelves.
Chimera Station.
Yes, thank you. That's the one.
Yep.
Yeah,
and based on what colors you put on it is what powers they have.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the top of that too is you have those mechs or the exosuits that you have to send your workers onto the main board with those exosuits. I mean, some of that's because I think the capital city is kind of treacherous to get to because the world's inhabitable. So you send them in those suits as well. Another thing I really like about the game thematically though, is when you get paradox tokens, if you get too many of them, it becomes an anomaly, which is basically just a building that goes on your board. And it gives you negative points at the end of the game, unless you pay the resources or whatever and get rid of it. But the theme behind it's fun because you're basically sending this guy with all these resources to go there and he goes through the wormhole and dies, closing the time loop. So it's I don't know. It's one of the only games where the theme, and I just don't care about theme too much. I mean, I like theme, don't get me wrong, but I like mechanisms.
Yes, and you rarely talk about themes, so this is different for you.
It is. And what's weird is I'm not even like that interested in learning the lore of the game. I just like the idea behind the lore and that it drives the game mechanisms. Super cool. Yeah.
I think it would be nice if the Anachrony was more of a problem. Like if it did something desperately bad to you. If you're messing around with the time loop and screwing it up, I feel like it should be like a bigger deal thematically, but I can see for game purposes, maybe you can't really do that.
What? Maybe give me an example. I'm not following you.
Because it does punish you. If you
right. But rather than just punish you in terms of points or, just a negative at the end of the game, punish you in some way that it messes with your strategy. It does some other negative effect that is sort of a random thing.
Well, I guess
I
the
don't know.
anomalies are part of it. I mean, you get
Right.
negative points, but you also get those anomalies, and those tie up your board spaces. They might cover up a building that's already there, and you got to
Okay.
waste a dude just to go through and close it. So it is pretty annoying. I will say that my wife did not care too much about that. I don't really care too much about taking loans in games, but if you need loan practice, like board game mechanism practice, this is a fantastic candidate to learn loan management. I mean, it should be called Anachrony, the loan management time traveling game.
I have to first say I'm jealous that your wife will play these games with you. Mine won't. Or if she does,
Aw.
she'll beat the crap out of me and then say she hates the game and never play it again. But yeah, I've played this on BJ and it's Board Game Arena, and it is really good. And you talking about it makes me want to play it again now. I'd fire up another game of it because it is really fun. I'm surprised I don't own this one. I don't know why I don't, because it does 1 to 4, so I could solo it. It's just that I know I would want that mega version, and that's like
the
$400 or
box
something
or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
So-
that's crazy. But now that you say that it's on Board Game Arena, I got really excited because I did not know it was on there. And
You want to fire up a game?
oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm in.
I'm gonna have to get in on this with you guys because I've always avoided this one, but now hearing you talk about it, maybe it's one I should try for sure.
Like I said, it says 4 out of 5 complexity. No, I say it's a 3.
Is it one of the lighter of the Mind Clash games? Do you think then?
What other
They've got
games?
Tricarion. They've got
yeah.
Cerebria.
It's weird because I don't want to say it's lighter, but it is definitely way easier than Tricarion. Like that.
Okay.
I mean, I love Tricarion, but
That is a good game. Yeah.
yeah, I would say it's just a worker placement game. That's really all it is. I don't want to. I'm not trying to downplay it by saying that, but it really isn't. Like if you played worker placement games and you play this game, as long as you understand the timeline and how paying loans back essentially is key to winning, or
Yeah.
at least as far as a noob goes, maybe the timeline's not even that important. But I found myself taking out loans for stuff I didn't even need, specifically so I could travel back and pay it off and move up on my time track just to get more points.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is essential to the game.
Yeah, it's worker placement done right.
Yeah.
I'll say it that way.
All right. Well,
if my future self is in a timeline that has time travel, he needs to step up because I need those loans.
fair enough. Yeah. Bring me those loans, buddy. Anyway, that is Anachrony. All right. So next up we got George. We're going to do, my bad. We got James.
We could do George.
No, we got to do it according to the intro.
Okay. Okay. So I want to preface mine real quick. I won't be too long. You mentioned this when I actually brought this game up on the Origins preview podcast. And it made me start thinking, I am a solo gamer. I didn't realize this. It was just out of the 3 main groups that I play with, including you all, I'm probably one of the few people that play solo games. I know my normal gamer night, they say the guy that hosts it, he's like he jokingly says he throws away the solo cards and all that. And I'm like, I'm actually a solo gamer. That's not my preferred way to play. I mean, I love playing with people, or playing board games with people. And, but it just came out of necessity. Yeah, thank you. It just came out of necessity where, again, I like these really heavy games sometimes and thinky games, and my wife does not. So I was like, I always look for games that play solo so I could play them when I feel like playing a heavy game. So that's how this came about. And that leads up to this game. My game is, and I'll try to say this right, it's a Spanish word, Conservas. And when we were doing, I took Spanish in high school and college, but I'm terrible at it.
Muy bien.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, do you want to share the BG page and kind of go through the?
Yeah, you got me. So let's
all messed up here.
Yeah, you got me all. Okay, let me share my window here. Okay, this is Conservas. It's by Scott Alms and 25th. It's published by 25th Century Games. I bought a few of their games at Origins. They were really nice people. And I was actually very looking forward to this game because I love bag building and or deck building.
Yes.
I mean, worker placement is my favorite mechanism, but I'd say my second is bag building / deck building. So this, I was excited to look into this, and even though it's solo, it gave me Orleans light vibes by looking at it. If you've ever played Orleans or Orleans or however you want to say it, or Altiplano, it's bag builders. So, and I want to say, I thought when we were previewing this, they were talking about conserving the ocean by saying Conservas. Now that actually is Spanish for canned meats or preserves. So that's what you're doing.
Has nothing.
Right. When you take the fish to market, you're making a canned meat, canned fish.
Oh no! So it's the opposite of preserving the ocean.
Right.
Great.
So I didn't know that.
Preserving the fish in cans.
I should have wrote down the exact. It's really a Conservas de Pescado or something. I don't know how to say fish in French or Spanish. So that's what it's short for, Conservas. It's supposed to be really popular in Spain, this type of meat. And what you're doing is it's similar to, makes me think of Jaws of the Lion, where it has a booklet. This has a booklet. I may pull it up here. I'm just showing you the zoomed in version of it. This is in Spanish. And
is this for spoiler alerts?
No, this is not spoiler or anything.
Oh, okay.
So what you're doing is
spoiler alert.
You start out with a one boat and an open water card, and the page, it's monthly, so it's January through December. So there's 12 pages you're going to go through different, and it goes up in difficulty. I assume I haven't gotten that far into it yet.
Is it a game per page? So 12 games?
Yes.
Okay.
And the page, here's what it's showing now is how you set it up. That's actually setup, Spanish for setup up there. And it tells you get $10. This is actually January. We're looking at the first one. So you're putting in, then there's 4 different types of sea animals that you can be able to play with. It's sardine, mussels, scallops, and octopus. Then you've got water tokens, which are just the dead ones, which I mean, as in meaning they're not useful for anything, maybe. And I'll explain that later. But you also get money. But then you have objectives. And what that's showing you there is at the end of the game, you want at least $50, 5 sardines in your bag, and at least 5 scallops in your bag. Now, the difficult level, $60 and 7 of both those. Now, each page, you're going to get harder objectives, more like in February, you add the mussels. So you have 3 different animals. But that tells you, the setup, it tells you how many of each mussel and each clan or scallop to put in your bag and how many open water and water tokens. So what you're doing for each card, you start out with 1 boat and an open water card. So for each boat and that open water card, you're going to pull out 5 tokens from that bag. And you can decide which card to put it on. You have to put it on all those 5 on 1 card that doesn't have any tokens on it. So the first hand you're going to be playing, you're going to draw out 10 tokens. And you can decide which one to put it on. The open water, any fish there are going to spawn. So you can't do anything else but spawn on open water. And the boats, let's see, I had a picture of the boat. Let's see. I'll use this one. So the boats have the cost on the left, and then they have the upkeep. So at the end of every round, meaning you draw your tokens and you buy stuff and put the tokens back in the bag, you have to pay an upkeep for each boat. And on the right, it has a number, and that's how much catch you can hold, and that's what you have to do. So for 5, you take 5 tokens, and let's say the boat has 2. The ones I'm showing there are 4 and 3, but let's say 2. So you have to take 2 of those 5 tokens and put it at the top. That's what your catch is going to be. You put the 3 at the bottom below the boat, and they call that the deep sea. And this is a major rule that I missed the first time, and I got my butt handed to me by the game because I ran out of tokens, fish tokens. So obviously by the 3rd round, And the book also has different varying rounds. The one in this picture has 7. That's again, that's the first one. January it should be, looks like. So you have 7 rounds to get to the objective. After the 7th round, if you meet the objective, you win the game, more or less. By the 3rd round of the first game I played, I had 0 of the sardines left in my bag. I knew I wasn't going to win because I wasn't going to get 4 of them at the end of the game. So I made a huge mistake. But the problem was, what mistake I made was I thought the only open water spawned animals or sea life. No, the deep sea plus the open water spawn the animals. So and how they spawn is the number of that certain type of, like I say, if you have sardines, that number of sardines minus 1. So if I have 3 sardines out there, you can spawn 2 extra ones. So you're going to have 5 go back in your bag. 3 of the ones you had out in the deep water and the open water combined, plus the 2 that you get. So that can be real helpful if you think about it, because you're required to catch that number that's on the boat. You can't just put 1 up there if the number's 2. You have to put 2 up there. So if you draw 5 sea life, you're going to have to put 2 sea lives in your boat. Now that can be helpful, but you're also spending those. So those are going to go away. They either go back in the the pile, or they go up on the board. So you'll lose those out of your bag temporarily or permanently. And so you can also put the water tokens in the catch also. So that allows you to spawn. If you're like, I really need these tokens, I pulled them out, but I don't want to spend them now. So I'm going to put water up in I drew 2 water tokens. I'm going to put those in my catch. So it kind of works out that, and you can put those other ones in the deep sea, and so they'll spawn for you and get more tokens. You're conserving the ocean, but you're actually building your bag. You're getting more valuable sea animals in your bag. Now the water tokens, unlike any other bag builder or deck builder, you can't really call the water tokens. So whatever you start out with, if you have like 10, you're always going to have 10 in the bag. It's never going to get more or less. But they also help a lot too. So you can buy more boats later on in your turn. And how you do that is, let me see. Those are I've meant to pull this up. This is a picture of all the fish tokens with the water tokens. And
okay,
the reason you flip them on the side when you
Some
spin
have bottle
them.
caps.
Yeah, it's like that's when you make them in a little tin of seafood.
That's how you open the tin of sardines.
Yeah, so when
a
you
little
make
pull
them,
tab.
when you make them the Conservas, you flip it over to that tab showing that you made them into. Otherwise, they're the animals, the little.
So is there
animal.
just sardines, or can you do tuna and stuff like that?
Right. There's sardines, mussels, scallops, and octopi.
Okay.
I was hoping I get a closer picture of the.
How long does one of these games take to play?
It says about 15, 20 minutes, and then that's about right. 20 minutes.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's quick. When you know it, I mean, it just flows. So all you're doing is you're drawing tokens, you're placing them on the open water or boats that you have. You're then making them either into Conservas, buying boats, or they have upgrade cards, which kind of break the rules depending on what phase you are in the turn. So it allows you, like one time only, I could double the amount of spawn I had, which that helped a lot. And I did. Well, I'll get back to that. So you can buy boats, but the problem is you're going to have to draw 5 tokens for each boat. So if you have a ton of boats, that will work against you. So you're going to have to try to balance the number of boats you have with the number of tokens you're spawning. And it's kind of a puzzle there. And then also some boats cost money every round. So you got to make sure you have money. The way you get money is you turn the fish into Conservas on the page itself, and you start from the left to the right in most parts. That rule changes later on in the year of the different months, and it'll go different flow, but that it'll give you a certain amount of money as you put tokens down. And it tells you which ones to put down or how many. Like in the picture, the third row, the first one requires 2 sardines. What you do is you put 1 token there and just discard the other one. And the bottom, it has 3 scallops. So you're putting 1 scallop there and discarding the other 2. Now, and then after you do that, you just clean up you put all the open waters or the water tokens back in the bag. You spawn, you refresh any upgrade cards that you bought because you have 3 out there at all times and 3
Right.
boats.
And
So
then what do you put on the page goes back in the bag?
No, that stays out there. So they're gone for the rest of the game. And so because you're building from left to right. Now I did have an upgrade card that did say remove up to 3 tokens off the page. So that helps you if you needed more money. And that's how you're going to get money. It seems at 3 or 4, 2 a pop, it seems like impossible to get 40, but it goes pretty quick near the end. It's one of those ones that build. You're building up towards, just like any kind of battle builder or deck builder, you're building up to be more powerful later on in the game. I did after that first butt whooping it gave me, I spent the night thinking about it, trying to figure out what I did wrong, and and I came up with a strategy, and it worked pretty well. The first one I missed the difficult one by $1. I got the number of fish correctly, but I still beat the game with the regular.
Well, that's pretty cool that you came up with a plan and it worked out. That's what you want the game to do, really.
Do you actually take anything from game to game? Or is it just like 12 different scenarios?
Right, just 12 different months.
Okay.
And if I had done the Kickstarter or Game Found, it would again 2 more months or whatever, 2 more pages, which I don't think I couldn't find anywhere to buy those yet. But the upgrade cards, I forgot to say, they do cost. Let me see if I can put this out. Like they will say like 2 of the same token, so you're spending tokens also. That's how else you're going to lose tokens, by buying upgrade cards. But the later on, some of the objective requires you to buy so many objective cards. So you're going to have to, which they do help. Both games I've bought objective cards because they do help really well. I mean, there's, like I said, they're game breaking rules, but they're not overpowered. Now I could say, with this game, somebody online was talking about once you figure out the strategy, the game's too easy. I might have to agree a little bit. I don't know. I'm not going to say my strategy because that's what the strategy I came up with.
Sure.
When I thought about it.
Don't want to spoil it.
But I'll say I'll give this game a 7 out of 10. Just because
is the strategy basically gaming the engine, like gaming the design? You don't have to say what it is, but I'm saying
it's just doing what they want you to do. It's
okay.
I hate to say it. It's
strategy
it's
is play the game.
But you feel railroaded into a certain strategy.
Playing smart bag builder, deck builder games. I mean, but I don't think it's supposed to be overly complicated.
It's just kind of a casual thing.
Yeah, and I enjoy it. I'm very glad I bought it, and I think they could easily do an expansion saying, the next year have another 12 scenario booklet. I mean, it can't be that hard, and make it harder. Maybe
would it be possible to come out with another game, right? Another game. It's all like a new book and all that stuff, but then have a 2-player mode where both of you can play.
Oh yeah.
Like
one person could be Spain and the other one could be Morocco, and you're out there like just trying to fish in the same spot. And
but you know what I'm saying? Like, is there a possibility they can make this more than just a 1-player game?
To me, if you're trying to make it 2-player, it'll feel like there's other 1-player games that they add a second player, but it's more or less they're just watching the game. I mean, like Nemo's War. I think it can be 2-player, but it feels like the second player's not really doing much.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
I mean, I
like the idea though, Tim. I think that has possibility for sure.
I thought it would be cool. Right. So let me ask you this: if you played
Conservas duel,
right. If you
Spanish ships go up into Irish waters, and now it's a fight.
Yeah.
If you play through all 12 months.
No, just the first 2 months.
I'm saying if you do, is this one of those games? I feel like if I was in solo games, if I played through the 12 months, I'm pretty much done with this game. I'm selling it. Like it doesn't seem to me, it's weird because if you put scenarios, then once I've done the scenarios and I've beaten them all, I feel like I completed the game. Whereas something like Ghost Stories, which is not a 1-player game, but what I mean is a co-op or something, it does not have scenarios. It just has play the game and then you play it again and you play it again. You know, it's like playing a traditional board game. This, when you add scenarios or books, I feel like when you finish it, I don't need to go back and play it again.
I can understand that. I can see that, because I would think if I go through all these, if I replayed it, it'd probably be like the last few months, because the harder levels, because then January would be way too easy, even though everybody said it was harder in February, which I might agree. February seemed a little easier, even though it added mussels in there instead. So it was 3 different fish. But I think you're right. I can see that. What I think it would have benefit from it was go through the 12 months and then maybe set it aside for a couple months and not get back to it later, kind of after you've kind of forgotten a little bit about it.
Oh, but, yeah, kind of re-experience the game.
And then they did include a sheet which you could print, but they came with the game. It did say, here's ways to make it harder. Extra challenges is what they said. So you could, the first boat you get is free. They said, well, maybe you can pay for it instead. So you have less money at the beginning.
Yep.
Different stuff like that. When pulling tokens, each boat may take at least 1 fish into the boat. If you draw only water tokens, then you do not have to place a fish. So, you must take a fish into the boat. Like I said, you can just put 2 waters in there if it's requiring you to take 2 tokens and let those spawn. This way, this kind of gives away the strategy. But you
don't say it.
You put one fish.
Okay.
You have
all right. No, we get it. You got to spawn your fish. We get it.
When fulfilling at the beginning, when fulfilling a market space, it says you stack all tokens, the market space that was sold. So you're losing all of those. So if I have to spend 3 tokens instead of just putting 1 there, that's another strategy, because you're losing tokens out of the supply to be able to put in the bag. So if you stack all 3 there instead of 1, well, stuff like that. It's, I mean, I understand your point, but yes, I think you're probably right. If I play all 12, I'll let you know.
Fair enough. Let me ask you this real quick. Other than final thoughts, where does this rank in your 1-player only games? Not games that have a solo mode, games that are strictly just, this is for 1 player. I don't know if that's a fair way to say that. Maybe people consider all the solo games.
Think of all the solo only games that I've played.
I guess there really isn't that many. There's just a lot that have solo modes.
I am missing a lot of stuff from what did I do this week. I just played Witchcraft 2, which is solo only, and this is better than Witchcraft. Witchcraft was good, but I like this better. I would say it's mid tier of all the solo only that I've played, which is not many. I mean, I played a lot of solo modes, but not solo only games.
Gotcha.
Witchcraft is well liked, so that's saying something good.
I'm not
for
saying
this
it's terrible. Witchcraft just is kind of not my game. I liked it, but I'm like, I don't know it's too where it could be so bad for you that it's like, well, I just set up this game for 10 minutes and I've just lost it really bad right off the bat. So that's what kind of bummed me about Witchcraft, but it was fun. The 10 minutes I played it.
Well, final thoughts about this one?
I would definitely recommend it. It's 7 out of 10, and it is a very fun, enjoyable bag builder. If you do solo play, I highly recommend it. I don't think it was very expensive. Maybe $25-$30 if I recall, if that, maybe less. And the people at 25th Century Games were very nice, so I highly recommend their games. If you're a solo player game and just want something light and small footprint on your table, this is the game to get.
Sounds good. All right. Well, that was Conservas. Say it again.
Conservas. You say E like an A. Like A.
De pescado.
Yes.
All right. So our final game here, James will stop sharing the screen, is Corpse of Discovery. Lead us into it, George.
All right. Well, you might call it Corpse of Discovery because you are very likely to die.
Oh, okay.
I think it is a play on words. I think they want that, but yeah, Core of Discovery is it's a survival game, and you're very unlikely to survive.
I basically said it wrong, is what you're trying to say. All right, fair enough.
Yes,
fair enough.
But I think it works. It works for the game. It does. And I'll bring up the screen to show you the details on it, if I can. Let's see. Here we go. So it is by Off the Page Games. They are the company that did things like Harrow County and Mind Management. So they do a lot of games that are based on novels, graphic novels. And this is another one. It's based on the graphic novel Manifest Destiny, which I haven't read. I did pick up one copy because I found it at Ollie's, which is a discount store around here, for like $2. So I grabbed one issue, but I haven't read it yet. Are you guys familiar with Manifest Destiny at all?
Not the comic.
The theme, or the,
Yeah.
I know the
term.
yes.
Yeah, no, the comic. Sorry, I meant there's a comic. It seems pretty graphic. It seems like the comic itself is a bit gruesome, and there's just a bit of that in the game, which I kind of like, actually, considering that you're traveling across America. You're trying to follow in the footsteps of Lewis and Clark, and in this alternate universe, there are monsters, and so the president has tasked you not just with making it to the West Coast, but with eliminating the monsters along the way. So that's the funny premise of it.
I thought that was true. I thought we did have monsters back then.
Oh, and they eliminated them. Yeah,
Yeah.
So they did a good job.
Yeah, that's why we don't see them anymore. Maybe a Bigfoot here and there running around.
Right.
The designers are Jay Cormier and Sengfu Lim, and the artist is Matthew Roberts. So this game, Core of Discovery, has this style of art here, if you're watching the video, which is, I think, I like this better than the art in Mind Management, although I really liked the game Mind Management as well. And I really like this game too. But this one speaks to me a little better with the art.
I would say, and I'm not a very big graphic artist person, graphic novel person, but this reminds me of the Walking Dead comic book with a little bit more color.
Yes, okay. I agree. 100%.
Nice.
So those who listening get a sense of what what the art looks like without having to see it. So continue on.
All right. And the game itself, the way that the game works, the game has been actually compared to the game Minesweeper, where you're choosing spots within a grid. And so you have a grid of items that can be revealed, and you cover them with these discs that are day or hour discs, so that as you make a path, you're taking these discs off and you're using them as counters to show time passing. So you have to explore the wilderness, which is very thematically appropriate. And as you do so, when you uncover something, each spot that you uncover is going to give you usually a resource or a bit of information. So here you would get some water if you were picking that spot and uncovering it. And the next one over is a hill. And from the vantage point of a hill, you get some information. And this one would tell you that there are 2 dangerous areas within the row and column where that hill is.
Can I ask a question real quick? It looks like this is a dual layer board with all the circles cut out. Do you slot in like an adventure sheet behind it or something?
You do, and so you have these maps that are that you slot in, and you put on top of them a cover page that is blank. So you slide the 2 in together, so you don't get to see everything. You've covered it up, then you slide them both in, then you take out the cover page after you've put all the circles blocking the view.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Keep going.
So you have no idea what's there. It works really well.
That is super cool. I see the Minesweeper reference now.
Absolutely. And so you're moving around and you're trying to collect these things, and you can explore anywhere that is orthogonally next to a place that you've already explored. And typically you start from the last column, which is one side of the map, and then you just work from there. And as you go, there are all of these different things that you can uncover, and which you will need, so that you've got food that you can find, you have wood, you have stone, you have vines, you have mud, and you have skulls, which represent threat. And when you uncover a skull, that's when you're going to uncover a threat card. And that threat card is going to typically be some kind of horrible monster like a buffalo minotaur or something, that it's the theme is so well done. And there are sheets that tell you for each of the kinds of scenarios in the game what you're going to be uncovering and what it means, so that you get this deductive information. And depending on what map you're using and depending on what scenario you're using, they'll tell you different things. For example, in some maps, if you uncover a wood, there's only going to be one wood for that whole row and column. And you may know that there's always going to be water next to wood next to water, orthogonally. There's always going to be food next to a Native American settlement, diagonally, somewhere, right? So you get all this deductive information as you're going, and you need that desperately to try to figure out where you should go, because you're on a knife edge of resource management. You have a backpack that can only hold 4 items. And if you take more, you could take 5 or 6. But if you do, you're getting fatigued and you're losing water. And water is like your hit points in this game. If you run out of water and you need to spend the water, you die. That's it. You've lost.
Oh,
so
man.
It's a cooperative game. Everyone is working together to try to get the expedition to achieve the goal of the scenario. And
does each player get their own character sheet and stuff?
Yes. Well, not a character sheet, but you get a character card. And the character cards will give you an ability, so that you have this ability that you can use once per day, and then you'll get it refreshed at the nighttime phase. And these can be crucial to keeping you alive. Not only do you have your character ability, but you also get a gear card, so that you have some kind of a gear, like a compass or a shovel or, some item, and that gives you an ability as well. And again, you can refresh that and get to use it once per day. So cooperatively, you're sharing with each other, oh, I can do this thing to help you, or I can do this thing when it's my turn. Can you maybe not do the thing you're thinking about doing so I can do the thing that I need to do? It becomes really cooperative, and there's a lot of discussion in the game. Some people may be better at the deduction than others. I've made so many mistakes in this game where I'm just positive this is going to be this one thing, and then I flip it over and it's like, oh no, that was a skull. Now I'm dead, or I'm in serious trouble. But it's really fun to discuss what you think with other people, and they can help you catch something like, no, it couldn't be that because of this, or okay, we know these 2 things, which means this other thing has to be true, right? So having more than one brain working on this deduction really helps, because just a couple mistakes and you're really in trouble. And the reason for that,
I did see on the main page that it's best with 1, according to the community. I don't know what percentage says that or whatever, but
I mean, if you're really good at deduction, maybe. Okay.
Okay. Fair enough.
I like having somebody, to bounce ideas off of and keep me in check when I forget something.
Yeah.
And because I can make a boneheaded mistake. And when I do, you're under the cosh, because, all right, you're going around and uncovering things. As you do so, remember when you take those discs off, when you make a move, you take a disc off and you find a resource, and that disc gets placed as a time marker. There are 3 cards that will be challenge cards, and they have in the top right corner an amount of time that when that time passes, you have to have overcome that challenge. You have to have satisfied the conditions of that challenge. And if you don't, bad things happen, right? And sometimes it's impossible to do. So sometimes you have to selectively say, okay, we're going to fail that one. We just know we're going to fail that one. We'll have to deal with that, right? And you don't even try. But sometimes you just have to get the challenge satisfied. For example, in the image here, there's a challenge that you need a mushroom and 2 water. So you have to have found that mushroom by the time this challenge card, the time has elapsed, right? And then the next one, you need to have wood and either a skull or a stone and a water. So you're constantly running through that water. And if you run out of water and you don't have it, you're dead. You lose. At the very end of the 3 challenge cards, then that's the end of a period of that's the end of the day. And so at the end of the day, you have to have a food, 1 extra food. If you don't, then you starve and you die and lose the game. So you're under this constant pressure to have the things that you need. Then at night, you get to get all your abilities back. And if you don't have any monsters on the board, you put a monster out at night. So there's always something bad
There's
happening.
always a threat. Did you mention how to win, or are you getting to that?
It depends on the scenario that you're doing. And there are a number of scenarios in the game. So one of them is flora. And you have to go and search along a path and find certain things in order to make your way to this gigantic killer plant, and you have to burn it down. So you have to have fire. You have to produce fire at the end, and you have to have all these things to find your way along the path. That's one example. And actually, I haven't played the flora. What I have played, there's another kind of scenario called fauna. And in
Makes
that
sense.
one, that's the one where the minotaurs are coming out. And so there's these buffalo minotaur guys, and they show up on the map. And if you have to go anywhere exploring around a minotaur on the same row or column, then you have to pay an extra water or resource to explore that area because you have to hide from the minotaur. So it takes you extra time. And so they really get in your way. The only way to kill the minotaurs and what you have to do to win the minotaur scenario, the fauna scenario, is you have to find these forts. And the forts, the people at the fort know about a certain kind of minotaur and how to trap it and kill it. They have a plan. So you have to go find out what their plan is, and then you get a card and it tells you what you need to do to kill that minotaur. And you have to do that 3 times in order to win the game. You have to take out all the minotaurs. That's an example. Another example is there's very different scenario called Insecta. And in that one, you're going around in these gigantic, horrible insects that are like Volkswagen-sized mosquitoes show up. And you can't explore where they are. You can't explore around them without paying extra stuff as well. So all the 8 squares around them. And in order to take them out, you have to create an insecticide and then go around and you can insecticide all the places you've already uncovered on the map.
You have to develop raid.
Yeah, you really do. But
Yeah.
but there's a problem. You have to get the supplies to your ship in order to make the insecticide. And there is a gigantic, horrible frog monster that is keeping you from getting back and forth to your ship. So you have to get the frog monster to be fed in order to take stuff to your ship or back off of your ship. And in order to do that, you have to either sacrifice some food or some water to the frog monster. And you only get to do that a certain number of times. And meanwhile, you're exploring to find, you have to have one of everything to make the insecticide. So it's crazy hard. But if you do it, then you can insecticide all the places where you've already explored. But in order to get the insects onto a spot that has been explored, you have to have cleared an entire row. And that's not the easiest. So anyway, each one of these scenarios is a different thing. And
That's pretty cool.
It is really well done. I've played the fauna, I've played the insecta, and I've played another one called Vameter. And the Vameter is this bird monster, almost like a bird vampire, kind of. Flies around and kills your men. So you have these crew people that you put out, and they can shoot a certain like line of sight. You're trying to get the Vameter to fly to where they are, and he moves. There's certain rules to get the Vameter to move around, but he can also just fly there and kill them. So you have to be careful how you do it. And the book, I guess, in the story, the way that you find out about the Vermeter is you meet these other guys. I think they're called the Fets or something like that. I don't know. But they're these little blue bird people. And they're like a Native American blue bird person. And they're friendly. You're working with them to try to get rid of the Vermeter. But they're monsters too. You don't really care about them. So in order to get the Vermeter to move, you can sacrifice the blue bird dudes and leave them like tied up as bait. Yeah. So I mean, it's pretty sad, but it works. And anyway,
so this isn't like scenario based. You're just choosing like a monster to fight, essentially.
They're called scenarios. I think there's 6 different kinds in the Ultimate Kickstarter that came with 6 different ways to play the game. If you buy it retail, then you get the flora and the fauna in the box, but you can get the others. You just have to pay, like as an expansion.
When you play it and you pick like flora or fauna, does the map is the map specific to them or is the map always different?
The map is specific to them, but you get like 10 of the maps that are double-sided.
Oh, and you don't know which one you're going to be playing with. So you'd have to play it a ton of times.
You would have to play it a ton. And by the time you do that, by the time you get done playing it and you go back and play it again, there's no way you're going to remember where everything was.
Yeah, unless you're really trying to just be a master at this game or something.
And you have a photographic memory of some crazy ability, yeah.
There's not a lot of times when I get interested in co-op games, but this you got me.
It is good, and there's like I say 3 I haven't even done yet. One is the flora, right? I should probably do that one. But then the other 2 I haven't done because they sound hard. I'm already struggling with the others. But there's one. Okay, so you know how you have this, you have the sheet that tells you, okay, this is what you can expect to find, right? And it tells you
like your deduction helper,
all the deduction helper stuff. Yeah. Okay. Well, there's another scenario called fog, where you don't get this. You have to figure this part out yourself.
No, that's cool.
Yeah. So, but I haven't, and so you could play fog with fauna, you could play fog with flora, you could play fog with the insect or a meter, and you're playing the same kind of game, but now you don't have the rules. You have to figure out what the rules are.
It's like the hard mode.
Yeah.
Variant.
Yeah. And then there's one more that I'm really excited to try. But it's called Maldonado. And it's based on a rumor of, this is a real rumor that's out there, that Lewis and Clark were not the first, right, to go and explore this area. Supposedly there was this guy, Jacobo Maldonado, who was Spanish, and he went and did it. But there's not a whole lot of evidence of this, so it's pretty much a rumor. But like the fur traders of the time,
so he killed off all the monsters.
That he did that. Yeah. Yeah. So in that scenario, it's called Maldonado, and you're playing where one of you could potentially be a traitor.
Yes.
Be Spanish, I guess, or be Maldonado, and you're like, trying to stop everyone.
I'm sold.
Yeah, I can't wait to play that one, but I haven't had the opportunity yet.
I was supposed to play this at Origins, but I stupidly thought winning a copy of Just of Robin Hood was more important. So I came in
pretty nice too.
15 minutes late to it, and the lady said, "Hey, we can start over." I was like, "No, I'm not going to do that to those people." So I was like, "Is it okay if I just sit here and watch them play it?" And the deduction part, I'm with you, Tim. The deduction part overrides the co-op. So I love deduction types games like that, trying to figure it out. And as you notice on that one, you see there's also an extra little clue of what's next to each other on the actual map itself on the right there in that picture.
Yes.
So more in that page, there was also, hey, water could have in this pattern, there's this, if you find one of these things, this pattern of these 3 things are going to exist.
Right.
So it was really interesting.
Where you can find the forts. Yep.
But I thought it seemed like the expansions, there's a handful of expansions, like 4 or 5, it seemed like.
There really are. And they're making more. You can print stuff off of their website. So you can get more maps.
And the maps, it said, one of my co-scores said it had 10 maps in there. And that felt like 10 different scenarios, but I'm not sure. I couldn't figure it out based on the description. But I mean, I put it on my birthday list, so I'm definitely hopefully get this game. And
man,
yeah,
I'm
really
excited.
happy with this one. Really happy with this one. I haven't even played all the scenarios, but I've loved it so far because every time I've won or lost, and it's been just by a hair. Like it's been so close, and it's like this sort of this Oregon Trail kind of feeling where it's like, my God, everything is against you, but maybe you can make it a little bit longer. And you try to do everything you can, and it's just constant tension. I really do enjoy that.
That's awesome.
Well, spoiler, I didn't win Chest of Robin Hood.
You did not?
No,
not in the raffle, no.
Then you definitely made the wrong choice.
Yes, I did.
George, you got any final thoughts on this or a rating or anything before we wrap up?
Well, I will say a couple cautionary things. Like it has the potential to have an alpha gamer. If somebody's really good at deduction, right? They could take over and say
every co-op game.
Yeah. They could say, no, don't go there. You should go here. And it's like, wait, no, it's my turn. But yeah, it has that possibility, and it doesn't have. Strangely enough, like even though it has these scenarios and it has these cards with the great art and everything, it doesn't have its own narrative. Like it's not a story other than emergent story. Like you kind of put together yourself as it goes and what's happening, which I enjoy, but it's not a story game. So don't be expecting that as you go into it. It really is sort of this process of, okay, we're out in the wilderness. This is the thing we have to do. Maybe we live, maybe we die, but these challenge cards come up randomly and you could get hosed or you could have a fairly easier time at certain points. You're always going to get hosed eventually, but you can produce the story yourself. So don't think that it has like the comic book story to it. It doesn't.
Well, fair enough. It looks super cool. That is Core of Discovery. Did I say that right this time?
You did.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're at the end of the episode. That was dude, I'm super excited about Core of Discovery. I will probably buy that. And this is coming from somebody who doesn't really, well, this is a weird episode. I got games with theme, co-op games. Like what is going on with me?
Solo game.
Yeah. Anything real quick before we wrap up?
Yeah, let's plan a game day. We got to get together and check these out.
Agreed. Anyway, we want to thank you for tuning in to episode 150 of the MeepleCore Gaming Podcast. This episode was recorded on July 4th, 2025, America. Please send us your questions and comments to meeplecore@gmail.com. Follow MeepleCore on your favorite social media platforms and check out video versions of the show on youtube.com/MeepleCore. And until next time, this is Tim Jennette, the Metal Meeple.
George Breden.
James Fitzgerald.
Keep on rocking and rolling dice.